and I'll be flying you folks around the beautiful island of Kauai this morning. It's still morning. Tour is going to be about 50 minutes, and everybody's access to the microphone. So we got one up front for sharing, and then two in the back, one on each side back there, and I do leave them on throughout the flight. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to use the microphones. You can see we're also making a movie, and the position of the camera is indicated there on my panel, and I can push it out to the front, the right, the left, back inside the aircraft. We'll leave it there for now. I'll just operate that throughout the flight. Let's go ahead and get the other systems on. Air conditioning's coming on.
Soubesse que quando ela passa, o mundo sorrindo se enche de graça e fica mais lindo por causa do amor.
All right, everything looks good. Let's see here. We've got Ryan and Jack up front, my co-pilots, with Karen right behind me, and then Anthony. All right, and then we also have, in seats 3 and 4, Brian and Carol. Good. All right, we're going to double check those seatbelts, make sure everything got connected properly. And I'll do a visual check just to confirm what I can. Everybody ready to go? All right, good. I'm going to get some radio calls. We'll get underway. Here we go. All right, here we go. Alrighty, everybody, we're going to continue our climb up to about 2,000 feet. Right now, crossing over the breakwall right below us. The breakwall marks the entrance to this harbor. You see off our right side, this is called now Wili Wili Harbor. So this is the main harbor for the island of Kauai. This is where all our goods are shipped in. It's also where they park the cruise ships when they come into town. You can see a little bit further up the small recreational boat harbor as well. Beyond that, the mouth of the Hula EI stream, and if you follow that up, it kind of winds its way up there. But look on the right-hand side of the stream, you'll notice there's a large half-moon-shaped muddy fish pond. That's called the Alakoko Fish Pond, and it was built there by the early Hawaiians. They think about 600 years ago. A lot of movies filmed on Kauai, and I'll be pointing out some of the shoot locations as we make our way around the island. But right out of the gate here, I'd like to mention a little movie for you George Clooney fans called The Descendants. I filmed that movie in 2009, shot a scene where George drives his movie family up in a Jeep. They get out, look down towards the beach property, and they reminisce about the good times they used to have in the family property. That scene shot right there, looking towards this beach off our left side, is called Kauai, and it's the property behind the beach. That was kind of the backstory of that movie, whether they're going to keep it or sell it. It's Mount Ho'opo in front of us. It's about 2,300 feet high, and it is the tallest point in this line of mountains, so they call these the Ho'opo Mountains. They're kind of shaped like a big fish hook, so if you look up ahead of us, they go up and then hooks to the right. So just rolling out on a west heading now. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the microphones for everybody. Level 2,200 feet, cruising at about 110 knots. So since we are flying westbound, the left side of the aircraft is the South Shore. So the first big resort is called the Grand Hyatt, and then a little bit further up is the Sheraton. And then beyond that is Koloa Landing. So those are the three big resorts. The beaches are Poipu Beach, Shipwrecks, and Verde Keys. Right side, looking back towards the north and Kipu Ranch, you can see some of the cattle interspersed throughout the ranch. This is one of the more successful cattle ranches on the island of Kauai. Cattle ranching is a big business. We used to grow a lot of sugar. No more sugar in the Hawaiian Islands. That's primarily due to the cost, labor cost. Operating costs in Hawaii are quite high, issues with water. And so all of those things kind of combine together to add to the demise of the sugar industry, so we don't grow commercial sugar anymore since 2017 in the Hawaiian Islands, so that would have been Maui. And then on this island last, the sugar was 2009. Nowadays, it's mostly cattle ranching, also seed stock, so corn and soy mostly, and coffee. We grow coffee. We have a rather large coffee plantation located over by Kalaheo, and you can visit them if you want. They have a visitor center. It's called the Kauai Coffee Plantation. Coming up on the tree tunnel now. We'll bank a little bit so everybody can see the tree tunnel. Out the right door, low. And then Kaumali'i Highway. This would be the main highway that wraps around most of the island. Also got the biomass power plant located out the right door, about 2 miles. That square-shaped tan-colored building over there, that is a power plant that was built about 15 years ago. What it does is burn these trees you see growing all around us. The ones growing in uniform, thick uniform grows. Those are eucalyptus trees, and they're being purposefully cultivated to produce biofuels. Now, from what I understand, that power plant is operated mostly at night, and that's because we get most of our electricity from solar on this island. We get a lot of solar. 6 large solar panel farms, and they're continuing to build new projects. They've got another one that they're currently working on over on the west side near Barking Sands. So that'll be the 7th big one. No windmills though. Look around, you don't see a single windmill on the island of Kauai. The reason why is because of the native bird population that decided to build out the renewable grid and do it without windmills. That's fine with me. Get up into the mountainous terrain now. We'll get jostled about now and then. We do have a little bit of right quartering tailwind, and so that's going to bump us around a little bit, but nothing unusual or out of the ordinary. This island has a reputation, just like all the other Hawaiian Islands, of being quite windy. Approaching Hanapepe Valley now, we're going to descend into this valley and we'll take a look at some waterfalls. Right about here is where we pick up filming at a little movie you may have seen called Jurassic Park. So this was the first movie, right? This was the one filmed in 1992. But this was where they shot that scene in the movie where the helicopter flies up the valley and gets up to a waterfall called Manawaiapuna and descends down the face of the falls, landing at the base on a helipad that was built there just for the movie. That waterfall now coming into view just after 12 o'clock. Again, called Manawaiapuna, but also called Jurassic Falls, since the filming of the movie Jurassic Park. Coming around for one more view for the left side, so just be ready. Waterfalls up here, they're called the Upper Kahili Falls, and they always flow. The waterfalls here are very, very consistent. We get lots of rainfall. Also look at the topography above the falls. You can see it's kind of flat, bowl-shaped, and ringed by this ridge line, and so acts as like a big catchment. I've been flying air tours in this island for 8 years, 2 years on the Big Island, and that's all been with Blue Hawaiian helicopters. But I learned to fly helicopters in the Army. I was a medevac pilot in the Army. When I got out of service in 2009, decided to stay in Hawaii. I was stationed over in Oahu at the time, Wheeler and Tripler, but decided to stay in Hawaii and not go back to my hometown of Seattle, Washington. So my family, and I have 3 kids, and my wife, we ended up moving eventually from the Big Island then to here, and we enjoy Kauai. Lots of outdoor stuff to do, but if we want the big city, we do make our way over to Honolulu or even Seattle. We usually make it to Seattle at least once a year. Where is everybody from? We got 2 groups on board, Ryan and Jack out front. Who's got the microphone over there? Go ahead. Where are you folks from?
We're from Long Island, New York.
Long Island, New York. Well, that's a few time zones away. What about Brian and Carl?
We're from Victoria, BC.
Victoria, well, that's almost like Seattle. That's real
Very
close.
close.
Victoria is a sister city of Seattle, I would say. Kind of, yeah. Well, different country, but there you go. Kind of like Seattle. Looks like Seattle anyway, a little bit. All right, well, welcome. I hope you folks are enjoying Kauai, and we do have we've been having a pretty nice stretch of weather. This time of year can be pretty blustery and rainy. This is the time of year we typically get thunderstorms. Yeah. So we'll cross our fingers and hope that doesn't happen while you're here. Alright, turning westbound. Now this property we're flying over now is private. It's owned by the Robinson family. And Bruce and Keith Robinson are the current owners. The brothers, they obtained the property through an inheritance. It was originally purchased by their great-great-grandmother. Her name was Elizabeth Sinclair, and she bought this property after first purchasing that island out there. So if you look off our left front, That island 18 miles off the southwest coast of Kauai is called Nihihau, and it was bought by the family in 1864. They paid $10,000 in gold for it. $10,000 in gold in today's money, probably about $300,000. Not really much to pay for an entire island. And then about 4 years after purchasing Nihihau and realizing the island is too dry to raise all the cattle they wanted to, they came here and bought all this property. They made sure they had access to the water via Hanapepe Valley, so that valley we were just in, and all that water streaming down, as well as this canyon. This is called Olokele Canyon. And this provided them the ample water for them to grow as many cattle as they wanted. And so that enriched the family over time. Yeah. Later on they grew sugar, but that didn't last very long. Crossing over Olokele Canyon now, and you can see the terrain begins to change right in through here. It dries out, becomes the leeward side of the island, or the dry side. So this line we're flying on right now only gets about 23 inches of rainfall per year. Most of the rain falls off our right side, a couple of miles up there towards the top of the island, actually about 10 miles. That's where they get that record-breaking rainfall sometimes, but usually around 400 inches per year. That's plenty of rain. A portion of that's going to wash down this side of the island, and that is what's formed the canyon over time. Crossing over the Robinson property line now, we're over public land, all part of Waimea Canyon State Park, and once again created by all the rainfall up the top of the island, washing down, creating these very steep, narrow canyon walls. That's why they call this the Grand Canyon of the Pacific, because it was formed in a similar manner, albeit on a much, much smaller scale. We're going to enter Waimea Canyon now. I'll just fly up along the main river. It's just off our front. We'll probably jump over to the right side of the river. The river called the Waimea River, and translated, Waimea, translated, means red water in Hawaiian, and it gets its name from this coloring you see in the soil throughout Waimea Canyon, which is caused by a little bit of iron in the lava rocks. That's just oxidation or rusty soil. If you look at the canyon walls, you'll notice the horizontal lines going through the lava rocks. See that? Kind of looks like stacked plates or perhaps stacked books. So each one of those lines would be a layer of lava in time. So you're looking at thousands of years of lava flows, one after the other. The island of Kauai is 5.1 million years old, and it's considered the oldest of the 8 major islands. Now, if you were to compare this to the newest or the youngest island, that would be the Big Island. Big Island's not even 1 million years.
Rainbows, jewels of a misty crown, craters covered with a silken gown, stars that always shone so bright, scattered throughout the lovely night.
We'll fly to the back. There is a waterfall back here called Waipo'o Falls, and we'll do a turn there for everybody.
True love that came upon a grassy knoll, and bring these moments to my mind. For you, stars that always shone so bright, scattered throughout the lovely night.
I will come back to the right and climb up out of Waimea Canyon, turn westbound. When we get up to the top though, look down. You'll see a road that runs along the edge of the canyon. It's called Waimea Canyon Drive, and so this is the road you take if you want to come up here, and I do recommend this. It's beautiful, and there's also opportunities to get out, do a little bit of hiking. Just do a little research within Kauai State Park, so Kauai State Park.
There's no place I'd rather be, lingering in the ocean blue. I surf till the sun sets beyond the horizon.
Hey, we've just crossed over now into Kauai State Park. All this forested area below us is part of the largest state park on the island of Kauai. And this is where they do a lot of the hunting and fishing. The three animals they hunt on this island, the three game animals, are feral pig, feral goat, and also the black-tailed deer. Now, none of those animals are native to the Hawaiian Islands. They've all been brought by people over time. The first were the Polynesians. They brought the pigs, the dogs, the chickens, and even the rats. And then much later, starting with Captain James Cook, that was 1778, they started bringing all the other animals we now commonly associate with the Hawaiian Islands. Cattle and goats and other different kinds of pigs. They all kind of bred together, so we have what we call feral pigs. Now, feral up here though, the pigs look a little different. I've noticed they did bring in some wild boar from Europe, and so those pigs have been bred into the bloodline of pigs here, so it gives them a little bit different look than on other parts of the island. Fly by the Makaha tracking station off our left side. We are heading towards the Napali coast now, the Pale or Napale, which means the cliffs in Hawaiian. So no cars, no roads on this side of the island. The only access to this side of the island is by watercraft. There's also a series of hiking trails as well. How's everybody doing so far, okay?
Great.
Alright, good. Now this first beach you see off our right front is called Honopu, and you can see there is a rock arch that goes up over the beach. It's called the Honopu Sea Arch, and it's about 60 feet high, connects the two halves of the beach. This is where they shot scenes with Johnny Depp for Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. Next beach up is called Kalalau Beach. It's where the main campground is located. It's also where the trail ends. The Kalalau Trail starts at Ke'e, goes for 11 miles to Kalalau. So 11 miles in and 11 miles out. Going into Kalalau Valley now. This would be the largest valley on the Napali coast. It's where most of the people lived when they lived along this side of the island. Now, this community out here was mostly before the 1850s. After 1850, the population began to diminish rapidly on this side of the island. The island was broken out into 5 major districts called mohos, and each district was then broken down further into sub-districts called ahupus. So for control purposes, management, this was the old Hawaiian feudal system. So very similar to early European history where there was no concept of personal land ownership. All the land was vested in the crown. Well, it all changed right about mid-century, 1800s, with the ascension of King Kamehameha to the throne. That was 1843, actually. He began to change the political system as well as initiate a land reform called the Great Mahele. Literal translation to the word Mahele is a division, so the Great Land Division. It was supposed to divide the land up into thirds and be fair, right? So 1/3 going to the crown, 1/3 going to the state or the state government. And then 1/3 going to the people. That didn't really work out that way. The people ended up with the short end of the stick. They ended up getting about 3% of the total land available. So the crown got most of the land. Yeah, so that's what happened. And that once they had all that land fee simple, see, that become a commodity at that point. They were able to sell it, and so they sold it to the only people who had money. That was Westerners. They sold it for gold, mostly gold coins. You can see the trail now, and you get an indication of just how rough this trail is. 22 total miles, and I haven't done the whole thing myself. I've done portions of it, but most folks agree that it is a challenging hike, even though not that long. It's really not the distance. It's more the exposure and the distance, the rugged nature of the trail up and down, and also fairly rough going. A lot of sea caves along this portion of the Na Pali. These are best explored by boat, especially in the summertime. That affords the greatest opportunity of actually going into the caves. Let's climb up a little bit here. We'll take a look at the waterfalls as well off our right. This first one's called Waihuakua, and then there's another one just on the other side of the ridge there called Hanakoa. The beach coming into view now off our right side. This is called Hanakapiai Beach, and it's 2 miles in on the Kalalau Trail. It's open to the general public for day hiking. You can see a number of folks standing on the beach down there. They hiked in via the Kalalau Trailhead, the Kalalau Trail, just off our right front. That's KA Beach, so that's where the trailhead is located. Now, you used to be able to drive up to KA unrestricted and park and hike the trail to Hanakapiai, but nowadays that's all changed. Really, as of about 4 years ago, they changed the rules for accessing KA, and you're now required to obtain a permit to access KA. Again, that's this little beach you see off our right front. Now, KA is where the Na Pali ends and the North Shore begins. The North Shore extending from KA all the way up to Kilauea. Kilauea is that peninsula sticking out with a little rocky island at the tip. That's where the Kilauea National Wildlife Refuge is located. Let's do one more turn. How's everybody doing so far? Okay? Alright, well, if you have any questions, let me know.
I saw you in my dream. We were walking hand in hand on a white sandy beach of a...
There it is now. Pretty much the entire Na Pali coast, stretching from Milili'i to KA. That's about 14 miles. As we come around, you can see Hanakapiai Falls in the back of Hanakapiai Valley. Little stretch of beach there. Now, the beach becomes more visible as we get into the summer months. The swell diminishes.
Rocks me all night long. Those hot, long summer days, lying there in the sun on a white sandy beach of Hawaii. The sound of the...
I will do a flyby of tunnels. Tunnels off our right front now. They call this tunnels where it's indented there. They call it tunnels because of the submerged lava tubes. So this is a popular place to swim and snorkel, especially within the enclosed reef area over there. Lots of life in the water here, and usually the water's pretty clear as well. But again, summertime is the season mostly for that. Although there are times when other times when opportunities arise, you can get in the water here. But yeah, it is a little bit rough. It can be a little bit rough, especially in the winter. The community is called Hawaiian, and Hawaiian has a large percentage of homes that are listed as LLCs or limited liability corporations, and so they're investment properties. They could be vacation rentals, you know, that kind of thing. A lot of those down here. A little bit further up is Wainiha Bay, and then Lumahai. Lumahai is this big wide beach. Lumahai, you can see there isn't a reef here, so the reef diminishes right here at Hawaiian. And you'll notice this is where you have a lot of fresh water entering the ocean. So you've got the Wainiha River, and then also the Lumahai, which is going to diminish the shallow reef. There's still a reef here. It's just it's deeper down.
She's waving high, her other hand.
Lumahai, very hard shore break at Lumahai, so most folks don't swim here at Lumahai. They'll swim in the river, but they won't swim in the ocean. If you want to get in the water, the ocean, Hanalei Bay is a much better option. You've got Blackpot Beach over there, which is very safe, and also the Hanalei Beach Park, which is more central portion of the Hanalei Bay. Princeville as well, up our left side, and the mouth of the Hanalei River. Turning around the backside of Hanalei, the community of Hanalei, notice there's a lot of taro fields, all situated behind mostly the community. You don't really see them from the road when you drive through Hanalei, but you certainly see them from up here. Now these fields, some of them have been dated back to as early as the 14th century, and so this is an area that has always grown taro. Taro is a plant that was brought by the Polynesians within that category of plants we call canoe plants. So all the plants brought by the Polynesians called canoe plants, and there are about 27 different plants that they brought with them. And taro is probably one of the more important ones. They use it to make poi, and also the leaves, all portion of the plant are edible, so the leaves are used as a wrap. They call that lala when they cook it. Coming up on Mount Namalakama now, and you can see the water streaming out of the top, right out of the cloud. So we're seeing almost the entire waterfall right now. This waterfall is I believe it is considered the tallest continuous waterfall on the island of Kauai, measured at about 2,300 feet. Now the actual mountain is about 4,200 feet, which is why it is oftentimes shrouded in clouds. But that's going to give the moisture to the waterfall, right? So that elevation is what gives us this continuous waterfall. And this is the waterfall you can see from Honolulu when you look up this direction. Crossing over the ridge and into Honolulu Valley now. This is the upper section of the Honolulu River and Honolulu Valley. This is all public land. It's just never been developed for public use, so there are no trails or roads into this portion of the island. No way to even see this part of the island unless you're on an air tour. Very lush and green, lots of moisture, about 300 plus inches of rainfall per year. And so that's going to give us a lot of waterfalls as well, both sides of the aircraft as we fly towards the back. It's also very rugged. You can see that. It's got a lot of relief in the terrain. So just beautiful. Unfortunately, most folks don't get to see this part of the island. We're going to fly to the back there. There's the Honolulu River. So if you look, you can see the Honolulu River goes up and then it hooks to the right, comes down off the north-facing side of Mount Waialeale, Kauai, which this is now rising up into the clouds. This is the remnants of an old extinct volcanic crater. It's also the highest point up there on top, 5,243 feet. And also oftentimes described as the wettest spot on Earth. Now what we want to do is approach the mountain from the northeast side, and that is so we can access the crater, the old extinct volcanic crater called Waialeale. And there's Lihue just off our left out there in the distance, Lihue. And so we just flew from the north shore. That is the southeast side of the island, and then the south shore is a little more to the right. So that's about 24 miles north to south. East to west is about 36 miles, 543 square miles. You can fit about 6 or 7 Kauais on the top of the big island. Alright, coming out of the very back portion of the crater now, you can see the two arms coming down on either side, kind of wrap around us like a horseshoe shape, but this would be the remnants of the caldera, whittled down thousands of years of wind and rain. Coming out into the flat now, you can see where we flew earlier. That's Knudsen Gap off our right side when we crossed over the tree tunnel. See Mount Ho'opu as well. Lihui just off our front. That low ridge, that long low ridge, that's called the Kalepa. And just on the other side is Kauai Beach Resort and also the Wailua Golf Course. And if you continue to track to the north, you see that gap right there in the ridge. That's where the Wailua River passes on out into the ocean. It also splits right there. There is a north fork on the Wailua Kopa'a side, and the south fork is on the Lihui side. South fork is where Wailua Falls is located, and you can drive to that if you want to drive to that and check it out. A good little family day hike is the mountain over there that's called the Sleeping Giant. And there's two routes that go up to the base of that haystack. There's the east route and the west route. And then there's another trail that goes up to the top of the haystack. Now that one's a little bit dicey. It's got a technical section in there, so you got to be careful. But it is a good family day hike, so if you're looking for something like that to do, I recommend that. Coming up on Twin Lakes, this is where they filmed much of the movie Jungle Cruise, all the village scenes. Just entered the controlled airspace for Lihui, so we'll be landing in just a couple of minutes, and I do want to thank you folks for flying with me today. Once again, my name is Mark. I hope you enjoyed the tour. When we touch down, just remain seated. The ground staff will approach the aircraft and they'll get your doors for you. So don't need to bother with your doors. We will be cooling the engine off, so we'll do a little shutdown when that's completed. Microphones are off at this point. We'll be on the ground in just a couple of minutes.
It comes easy for you. The way you move is so appealing. It could make me cry. Go out driving with my friends in Bobby's big old beat up car. summer back.
Alright, we are down and roll that throttle down to idle, and we'll start our cool down. The microphones are back on, so if you folks have any last questions or comments, you're pretty quiet. I must have been answering all your questions that were at the tip of your tongues, and I just...
It was beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
That
Really.
was wonderful. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.